Welcome to the WJBM Outdoor Show, brought to you by Midwest Tractor Sales in Jerseyville. We're coming to you from the WJBM studio in Jerseyville, the voice of the Tri-County. I'm Aaron Quillin. I operate Monarch Rivers, where the mission is simple: kill big deer. Today we have joining us Chris Walker, Bent Beam Digital, LLC, and Team Radical. Chris, thanks for coming out, man.
Absolutely, man. Good to be back here.
Oh, man. So before I had to rush and get this started, we were talking about turkey season. You had a pretty awesome turkey season.
Yeah, it was short and sweet, but I got a bird and then Sydney got a bird, so I was able to call two in at least. But she had a second season tag, and of course I did not, and called two in, and one got away because I didn't have a tag.
Right, but you also had something crazy going on. So congratulations
Yeah.
on the newest addition to your family.
Yep.
Boy or girl?
Boy,
Okay.
Jackson Jeffrey Walker, and
That's awesome.
yeah, Sydney got him, was 38 weeks pregnant, and she wasn't very mobile, so we just put up a blind and got a big, comfortable chair for her, and we just did the boring style turkey hunting, but it worked and paid off, and we got out there at like 10 o'clock one day and started calling and had some toms respond and just slowly worked their way in. And the bad thing was they came in behind us, and they literally popped out probably like 10 yards from the blind, and it was on the side where the only window was not open, of course.
Oh,
and the
yeah.
decoys were on the other side, but they saw those decoys and really didn't want anything to do with them and just started walking away. And we're like, all right, try and get that gun barrel out there. And I think she smoked him at like probably 45 yards, some 20 gauge TSS, and just dropped him, pancaked him. That one got away.
Awesome. That TSS is pretty hardcore.
Yeah, you pay for it, but you know, it's got its benefits too, being able to carry a much lighter gun, 20 gauge around the woods, being a little more mobile. And now, I mean, I have some buddies that are even using the youth models, and they're just a lot more compact and friendly for especially the hill country around here.
Right. What size do you like on the TSS?
I like the 9s, but sometimes I get like the Apex blend. I think it's 7 and 9s.
Okay.
But it patterned out. I shot mine at 40 yards, I believe. And if I remember correctly, I had at 40 yards within that circle like 350 BBs.
Okay.
I mean, it was just insane.
Did you take the time to count them all?
Yeah, I did.
That's awesome.
I really wanted to know. I was just curious. I held them up. I held the target up to a window and used a marker and just counted them off because it's the best way to see them. And I was just legitimately curious of how many were in there. It's crazy.
Well, it's relevant data.
Yeah.
I mean, that's relevant data. It was just most of the time when people target shoot, they don't take that next step. I mean, that's genius.
I can't, like, there's so many people that just go turkey hunt when they go. There's so many people that don't pattern their guns and shoot their ammo to really know what ranges they're really effective at. And I think that's a huge loss for when you're going out and not knowing what your gun and your bullets are capable of. And especially with all this new ammunition coming out, like, it really changed the game here in the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. Like you're talking about doing the blind hunting. You can cover, 140 yards, basically, from side to side.
Right.
You're shooting north 70, shooting south 70. You're covering 140 yards.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't 70 yards, man. It's still a poke.
It is.
But I mean, the way that the targets look after you shoot that far and stuff. I mean, I just kind of get worried about the knockdown power that far.
Yeah.
Because putting BBs through paper versus killing them is a big difference.
Yeah, that's true. So what do you think the effective range of like that TSS would be?
I would say probably like 6 yards.
Okay.
Under. I mean, 50, 55 is kind of pushing it, but it's hard to say. I mean, it's whatever you feel comfortable of. Because, I mean, if you cripple that bird or hurt him and then he runs off, you're the one that has to live with that, and that sucks. But, also part of the fun of turkey hunting is getting them close and calling them in. But we know how those ones get hung up out there and don't want to come in. It always, for whatever reason, seems to be at 50 yards. Yeah. For me, at least. So, yeah, they don't really stand too much of a chance out there anymore.
I had a shot in a timber I didn't take this year, and it was like you wonder, but then again, stuff in between, it was a clear shot. The hen came where she was supposed to, and then naturally the Tom didn't follow the hen. He chose his own path.
Yep, they tend to do that, don't they?
I know, right?
I called 3 in, and I was standing up and I just saw like their head sticking up over the hill, and I couldn't see all their beards. And since they were serving together, I assumed they were Jake's. And I didn't shoot, but I was wondering like afterwards, I was like, man, could one of those been a Tom or what? But they just never gave me a good shot. Then I've had so many situations where you see them for like a second or two and you think that they're coming to you and you could have killed them in that second or two, but then they don't give you another shot opportunity and then they get away. Like I feel like the smart older birds do that here in these hills quite often, and they just use the terrain to their advantage, and it makes it a little more challenging than some of the flatter parts of the state.
Yeah, yeah. I always say that ridge. They want you to come over that ridge. Makes it tough. Makes them a little bit unpredictable.
Yeah, they like just going up before the crest and just sticking that head up and then
Mm-hmm.
just seeing what they can see, and then they kind of decide what they want to do. But I just down here, I haven't really noticed where they want to come up the middle of the ridge wide open. It's always on
Mm-mm.
one side or the other.
Yeah, yeah. They're dinosaurs. That's how
But
they've
yeah,
lived for thousands of years or however long wild turkey's been around. So, did you get the turkey hunts on film then?
yeah, I did. Well, I got mine on video.
Okay.
Sydney's didn't turn out so good because well, she leaned in front of the camera when she shot it, so it's mostly her back, but it really didn't matter because that it was just get Sydney a turkey before she had a baby
Yeah,
and
that's awesome,
hope
man.
that she doesn't go into labor afterwards and have to race up to Springfield. So, but
Right.
yeah, the one I got, I think it thunderstormed in the morning. Got out the farm later. It was probably like 9:30, 10, and literally before my foot hit the ground, I heard this Tom gobbling, and I made my way back, and he hung up for like 2 hours. I think he had some Jakes with him too, and they didn't want to break. They just hung out in the same spot. But finally, see, he chased the Jakes off, and then they wanted nothing to do with me. I didn't have any decoys, and then the Jakes chased him back one way, and then like 2 minutes later, he was chasing the Jakes off again, and then he came right to me, and I just shot him like casually walking right to me, as the Jakes were behind him, getting ready to chase him again. So it was just turkeys being turkeys.
Do you think he just had kind of memorized where you were
Yeah.
and was just coming to check you out?
Yeah, I think he finally got done with that hen or whatever he was doing over. He was just on like a slope on the field where I couldn't see him. And I got to thinking like I wanted to go over there and try and stalk him and shoot him so bad, but I knew that there was other birds there, and I knew like I'd probably get picked off. My chances, like if I bust him, I'm done pretty much for the day.
Yeah.
Because they're really like I didn't hear any other birds talking those couple hours I was out there, so I just had to be patient, and that's the hardest part of turkey hunting. Sometimes is just knowing when to just sit back and don't move. Just he knows you're there, and you just gotta wait,
Yeah.
and it paid off. So
That's awesome.
I love when that happens
That's awesome.
because a lot of times it doesn't.
I I think turkey hunting probably requires more patience than just about any.
It's because like they tease you, and
It-
then you just want to go do
exactly.
something, and
It's
you're
a
like, I'm
different
just sitting
kind of
here, and he's
patience.
going over there, and
Yeah.
still gobbling, and it's just a mental game. I think that's what makes it so much more.
Hear you. Well, let's take a break. Hear a word from the sponsors, and
Okay.
we'll come back. Welcome back to the WJBM Outdoor Show, brought to you by Midwest Tractor Sales in Jerseyville. We're coming to you from the WJBM studio in Jerseyville, the voice of the Tri-Counties. I'm Aaron Quillin. I operate Monarch Rivers, returning Chris Walker, Bent Beam Digital LLC, and Team Radical. Before the break, we were talking about your turkey hunting.
Mhm.
Did yours ended up on video? Is that on social media? How do you
No,
see
not
that?
yet. I haven't even edited it yet. I just kind
Okay.
of got it done. Like turkey season, turkey hunting videos are crazy. Like you get a lot of views up front. People are getting excited to go turkey hunting, and then so many other states open up before Illinois that we kind of decide to air some of the hunts that are at the probably third, fourth, fifth season. Sometimes we air them the next year.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes we just get them knocked out. But honestly, with the new arrival and everything, I had so much going on there. I
Yeah.
dumped the footage on my computer and I have it, but I haven't really begun editing and stuff. But it
I'm
was
with
kind
you.
of a short, sweet hunt. Turkey hunting, um, it can be very good if you have a weekend with the guys and there's a lot of action going on. Other times you go out and it might just happen real quick. So
Yeah.
it was just kind of one of those. So it'd probably just be a short, sweet hunt. But overall, yeah, he just came walking in, and I think I'm pretty sure I filmed that one in 120 frames per second. So it was slow motion. You can see all those BBs hit him, and it just
Really?
pancakes him. It was pretty
Nice.
crazy. But
That's cool. That's cool. So what do you find yourself doing right now?
right now, it's kind of crazy. So it's been so hot, as you know, and it's been extremely humid. And
Yeah.
I swear, I feel like everyone has kind of been daydreaming and thinking about fall and thinking about deer hunting. So I've been building blinds lately. We
Okay.
just completed a project for a customer. We did three 360 Pro XL blinds on trailers, which are on 5-foot platforms. So they're mobile units. And it was like this past week with it being so hot. I mean, I was getting a bunch of calls about hunting blinds, ponds, the deer ponds, people just knowing how hot it was
Yeah.
and just starting to think more and more of it now. And, I think a lot of it's just male nature. You always kind of wait till the last second to do some of these things
Right.
like the water and stuff. And then you realize when it's this hot and, you go outside, you're thirsty. And you're like, hey, maybe I should have something from the deer
Yeah.
to drink too. And I can tell you that my cameras on some of our deer ponds have really blown up this past week. Like I was telling you earlier,
Yeah.
we had a buck hit it. I think it's probably like Thursday or Friday. First time I've got a picture of him this year, and then since then he's been back 3 or 4 times drinking out of it. So just goes to show you, it doesn't take them that long to find it, and then once they do kind of lock onto it a little bit, and it's been cool just seeing them drink out of it, and the does, fawns hanging out to it. And then the other interesting thing was when I went to go put that camera on the pond, there was a bunch of deer beds in the clover like all around it.
Really?
I had the camera a little further back, and I think I was missing some of the action when they're on the opposite side of it. So I scooted it really close to it, and it seems to be picking up that more deer hitting it now.
Okay. So what you're essentially doing is you're going up and you're assembling and setting up some blinds, ponds,
Yeah,
for people on their farms.
yeah. So I'm a dealer for 360 hunting blinds and deer ponds, and then we do installs and delivery for those. So yeah, we've been getting some of those jobs knocked out, and then last week I also was hanging out with Bobby Kendall at the Whitetail Group, and we were filming some stuff on food plots, and he was basically detailing how he set up some of his food plots on this new farm, and it's an incredible farm. It's actually an old Girl Scout camp, and we just did a introductory video, basically introducing that farm and how he's going to develop it into pretty much an elite whitetail hunting farm. And it's got a 32-acre lake on it, I believe, and it's going to be over the top and cool. And he's going to kind of detail and show like all the strategies you can do with food plots and creating pinches and doing different types of grain to grain transitions and creating pinch points and stuff like that. And
Okay.
we've been filming and detailing like most of all the setup going into that, and they're all pretty educational videos.
You got time to sleep these days?
Not much. It's just been go, go, go. And yeah, there's been a
New
lot going
baby,
on. And
second kid,
yeah, thank
and
God Sydney's patient and understanding of all this, because yeah, things have been crazy. And it's like I said, it just seems to all hit at one time, too. There's slow
right.
for a little bit, and then it's just bam.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about the ponds, and then I want to talk some more about the blinds too. With these ponds, essentially, it's a setup where you're putting what 100 gallons of water. How much do they hold?
So they have some smaller ones, but the ones I pretty much carry that I found like most people are the most interested in are the 80 gallon, 120, and 240 gallon
Okay.
ponds. I have put in some 120 gallon ponds on our farm. I think we got them in May, and we haven't had to fill them up once. I was out there the other day. It maybe went down an inch or two. Kind of interesting thing, since that soil was exposed when we dug it in,
Yeah.
the grass grew up around it. It was in a clover plot, and it seems to be providing some shade to it, and it's also got green vegetation, so it looks pretty natural. Like when I was out there
Yeah.
the other day, there's even some tadpoles in there and stuff, and
Okay.
it does look really nice. But yeah, so you get into the smaller ones like the 80-gallon ones, you just might have to refill them a little
Yeah.
more. But most people, the ones that are selling the most are the 240-gallon ones, and those ones, um, they collect a lot of rainwater. Like I have one that we haven't even buried yet, sitting on the edge of the field, basically under a tree, and we've got a bunch of rain lately, and I'd say it's probably got 4 or 5 inches of rain in it. And I
Okay.
don't have a camera on it, but I guarantee those deer are coming up and drinking out of it,
Oh yeah.
just the way it is, not even buried.
Right. So one thing that I find interesting about these ponds is, since they're not a dirt floor,
Right.
you can't the midge. Was it there's the larva stage, there's the pupa stage, and then I think when the water recesses, that's when it becomes the larva. Right. The
Yep.
pupa's in the soil on the bank of a water source. When it restricts, then when it's in the mud and no longer submersed, I think it goes to pupa, and then that's when the pupa matures. I think that's when they hatch. I believe the stuff I've read. That's how the midge fly works. Is that how you recollect it?
Yeah, that's
Okay, so with the pond, since it doesn't have a dirt floor,
it's fiberglass
there's nothing for
them to
that
burrow into.
process to start.
Yep.
So the midge fly could land on the water, drop an egg, but there's no place for it to go.
Right.
So then that really eliminates some of the issue with concerns over EHD, because you're providing a more clean water source. So as long as you clean it out.
Yeah. Yeah. So like January, February, you can take a rake, you can get the leaves out of it that blow in from the fall. You can take a shovel and scoop some sediment out if that got in there.
Yeah.
But if you look, a lot of these guys that have been hit really hard by EHD in the past, thinking of like Lee Lukoski, Pat Reeve, that they made, years ago, they made these water holes,
Yeah.
and they're just, natural ponds, water holes. They basically took a skid steer, excavator, dug a hole. But what they were finding is they were having EHD outbreaks
Yeah.
quite frequently, and they think that had something to do with it because you're just exposing that much soil. Those things are relatively small. They fill up with water, and then they dry up, and
Yeah.
it just creates a breeding environment for it. So some of them have gone as far as just basically using a mini X or something and just getting rid of all those.
Okay.
And I saw Craig Ritz comes to mind. There's a pond he had on his property that he was continually having EHD problems, and they just dug the backside of the dam out and just drained it because he was just like, this has to be contributing to it, because I think he was finding deer in this general area dead year after year, and it was like just his target deer, just the studs, and he was just like, we got to do something about it. So I think this does help. I have seen some other products out. I don't know that much about it. I think one was called a EHD fence. It's some chemicals and water treatment that you can put in the water to kind of mitigate the risk and try and get ahead of it. And I think there's some other pucks and stuff you can get put in there. But, you just want to make sure you're doing your due diligence as land managers. We put in these water holes, but you don't want to create a problem down the road. And if it's continued to happen, I mean, it can be a huge issue, and no one likes losing big deer, that's for sure.
No,
Especially that way.
I found a chemical that is organic. I got it from a friend of mine, and I wish I knew the name of the company, but he's in Michigan, and I got it from him, and it is to prevent, the midge flies. It's got a oil layer that spreads out across the water, and it captures the bugs that land on it, and then it's got like this guy call it like a biological content that kind of balances the nutrients in a pond.
Mm-hmm.
You ever seen where, like in a cattle pasture or where a pond gets a lot of water runoff from ag, where it seems to have like a lot of nutrients in the bottom. It's almost over in terms of like sediment and then the amount of growth and just biologic stuff that's happening. It's too high of a concentration, and so I think it depletes oxygen. So essentially, there's an element in there that kind of reduces some of that, biological activity and
Okay.
restores the overall health of the pond. I don't know it enough to teach it. I've probably spoken on it too much for what I do know, but it's expensive, and I think somebody like yourself would be a good opportunity to go out and kind of treat, but your time's pretty limited as it is
Yeah.
between filming and
Yeah, and that's the other thing. I mean, we do have a couple natural water holes and stuff, and just makes me wonder those contribute. But luckily, we've kind of dodged the HD last couple years, and
yeah.
I don't know.
I've done a lot of extensive research, just to the best of my ability, because it's important to me and my livelihood. But uh, from what I understand, is that number the two biggest factors. If you were to take two factors that were the most consistent
Hmm.
amongst the EHD breakouts that have been studied by whatever group produced this research, is above average rainfall in July and below average rainfall in August. The combination of those two things happening is when it starts to get really bad.
Yep.
And the, there's just so much that goes into it, because deer in general, I feel like the more I learn about deer, the more I learn that I don't know much about deer. I mean, deer have consumed 25 years of my life. Like, this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
the um with EHD. I always thought it went like, by September it's over. By October it's over. If we have
Oh,
that drought still going mid-October, these deer are still susceptible.
we lost a bunch of deer in November a couple years ago
Yeah.
because we got a bunch of rain, and then it got really hot in November. It's like mid 70s, I think.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And we have a high fence deer farm that's probably like 5 miles away. And
Okay.
that guy lost a bunch of his high fence deer
Yeah.
as a result from it. And I was asking him about it because some of it's blue tongue, some of it's EHD, but it's kind of the same family. And basically,
Yeah.
he quit. Early on, he would send him away to figure out, which of the two it was. But now he pretty much doesn't. He's tried just about everything that you can, like from getting sprayers, treating along the creeks with pesticides, trying to kill the flies and everything, and they still get
It's I don't know. It's always going to be there. You got to do your best to prevent it. I think these tubs that you're doing are,
it. Yeah,
a
no, I
really good
think
opportunity.
it definitely does help. And the other thing is, like down here on some of these farms, I notice like there's just not water close in some areas. Like I've looked around and there's just not. So if you don't have a water source nearby, I mean, these are definitely a solution.
Excuse me. So, sitting back, like somebody calls you
Yeah.
up, hey, Chris, I'm interested in these ponds that you're doing.
Yep.
Walk me through the process. How does that work? You come out and you deliver it and set it up for them, or
Um,
you drop it off? How
it
does
just depends. So most guys just come and pick them up, or
Okay.
we can do delivery. I have delivered some. Just had a guy that made a pretty large order not too long ago, and those will get delivered. But most guys have just been coming and picking them up. We can do delivery. The smaller ones, so the 80 and 120 gallon ones, you can dig in with the regular shovel.
Yeah.
The 240 gallon ones, it is nice to have a skid steer and a tractor. I'm not saying you can't do it with a shovel, but it's going to be a lot more work.
Right.
So some of these smaller ones, I mean, they're great even in the timber. Like if you have a good
Yeah.
pinch point and stand, and they offer great opportunity to get camera intel
Yeah.
as well. The only thing is with putting them in the woods is you have a lot more roots to dig through and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
it's definitely doable.
Okay. So pinch points, and then do you woods like wooded flats, stuff like that, because they have to be refillable to an extent,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So you want them where you can refill them. The other cool thing is I've had some customers that have basically made little dry dams and use crushed rock and tiling to
Okay.
collect water and help filter it, and then the pipe goes into the pond. And
Really?
so some of these are non-resident guys that have farm managers and they can't come up here and refill them as often. So that was some of the solutions that they came up with, and it
Okay.
seems to be working pretty good. They've sent me some pictures, and the ponds were had several. Like I would say, one was probably a third full before they even filled it up, just from collecting that runoff water, and it just filters through.
Okay. So essentially hillside, ridgetop, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we had like thinking of a stand on our property that's one of our top stands, and even though like there's a creek behind us, it doesn't always have water. I mean, it pools up in some areas, but
Right?
you get those bucks cruising along those ridges in the creek bottoms and stuff, and they're sent checking the ridges, and you have one there. They might stop to get a drink there, and that just gives you more time, especially come bow hunting, to get a shot off and just kind of take their mind off of just slowing them down a little bit so
Yeah.
you can get your stuff together and hopefully get a shot off. So it's just the little things that buy us a couple more seconds can be all the difference sometimes.
Yeah. Well, in a state where the baiting isn't allowed, I mean, what a great way to, bring them closer to your stand with water, because that's technically not baiting.
Yeah, it's natural, so
Yeah.
it's definitely okay.
Yeah. Cool. So back to the blinds then.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're putting them on trailers, making them mobile,
Yep.
which is important. Uh, Somebody told me, a guy that kills big deer, he told me on some of his mobile blinds, he said, yeah, as long as you leave it in the field and they get used to it, you can just move it and it doesn't even bother them.
Yep.
Just move it to the other side of the food plot, or whatever it is that you're trying to do.
Yeah. So think about this. Think about how big mobile hunting's got in the last couple years. Saddle
Hmm.
hunting, everything's lightweight.
Yeah.
Be agile, be mobile, pattern
Yeah.
your deer, get ahead of them. Well, I would guess at what 95% of guys that have blinds, they're stationary. They're in one spot. And with these, if you have corn, beans, and maybe the deer ate all the beans out around your blind, and you don't have an option to move it, well, getting those in bow range are going to be a lot harder than if you just hooked it up on a trailer, wheeled it over 60 yards sometimes to make the difference, and just being mobile. And it just is a theme. It just over and over late season, it is so important to be mobile and just being able to move and get into those spots when it comes to bow hunting. And we do this with our tree stands and everything else, but a lot of guys don't do that with their blinds, and it's really important. And you can find a cheap utility trailer and make your own trailer and
Hmm.
put stilts on it on the blind and fabricate something, and being relatively inexpensive. So the ones that we have, I think they start at like $2,400 for a 5-foot metal platform and the trailer,
Okay.
and then you can hook it up to a UTV, 4-wheeler, truck, and just
Yeah.
wheel them around. And then it has jacks on the sides, level it out, and
Okay.
they're really slick. Um, and we've made our own out of the trailers and stuff. And I mean, usually if you can find a good deal on a trailer and get the welding done, the jacks and everything, I mean, you're usually into it for at least 1,000 at that point if you've got a good deal on the trailer too. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cost effective, and they're slick and really nice. And I think it's really going to help out getting on deer, especially for bow hunting. We're talking gun hunting. It might not make that much difference, but we're trying to get them within bow range, and
Yeah.
on food plots, it's a huge deal to be able to move those one way or another.
Okay. And you showed me the pictures that of the blinds.
Mm-hmm.
Those are pretty nice. 360 blind is what it's
Yeah,
called.
yeah. So that was a 360 Pro XL, it's 7
Okay.
foot. I believe there's 15 windows. There's either 14 or 15 windows in it. They have a couple of them. They have so it's tinted plexiglass,
Yeah.
and then they have these ones that have it's called double window system, but they have clear plexiglass behind it, so it has a magnet, and you can lock the tinted plexiglass up so you can see through without the tint for the low light conditions.
Ah.
But the other big thing that's super cool is you go out there, it's a super hard frost, and all your windows are frosted. Well, if you remember to put those down the last time you got out of there, your frost goes up, and then you have a window that doesn't have frost on it, and you can see out of them. So it's kind of like a no-brainer just to have those. And
That's slick.
yeah, they've been pretty awesome, and they have what they call bow windows and gun windows, but really, I kind of prefer the gun windows because they're big enough to shoot a bow out of.
Okay.
And the archery windows just have a double pane, so it's just a longer window. But really, the gun windows are perfectly fine to shoot a vertical bow out of, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And probably depending with a bow, sometimes you're taking a seated shot out of a blind rather than a standing too.
Yeah. So speaking of that, like one thing I learned is makes a huge difference is having a chair that has wheels on it, being able to roll around and get in position. They got some of those like nice Millennium chairs for the blinds, and they're heavy and they're loud when you have to pick them up and move them.
Mm-hmm.
Now I just get like $30 cheap office chairs off Amazon with no armrests, and then you just slide, roll, pull back, and just go like this, and it makes all the difference.
Yeah.
You can take a cushion out there if you need some more padding, but.
Well, let's take a break and hear a word from our sponsors. Welcome back to the WJBM Outdoor Show, brought to you by Midwest Tractor Sales in Jerseyville. We're coming to you from the WJBM studio in Jerseyville, the voice of the Tri-County. I'm Aaron Quillin. I operate Monarch Rivers, where the mission is simple: kill big deer. And returning Chris Walker, Bent Beam Digital Team Radical, videographer, deer hunting extraordinaire, turkey season legend. Dude.
I wish.
How are your food plots coming along?
They're doing okay. Planting some alfalfa. It's coming up good. We got sprayed half of it. Need to spray some more. Got some grasses coming up, but it's crazy. Once it started coming up, every time I've gone out there, there's been deer and turkey in it like 3, 4 o'clock in the middle of the day, and they've just like already just been hammering it. So that's exciting. The clover is looking good. We got all this rain. The clover is looking awesome.
Yeah.
Getting close to needing that first mowing and maybe some spraying, but I think you said you were spraying today.
Yeah, I jumped off the tractor and showered before I came on in today, but I'm just putting I think a second spray on some corn right now.
Okay.
And yeah, it's like I don't know, 23, 25 acres, something like that. And with my rig, I got to get it now and get it good because, I'll crush too much of it if I don't take care of it now.
Yep. Yeah, so it's been hot. It's been so hot. We've been kind of worried about spraying lately with it just being in the 90s and all this humidity and stuff like that. I mean, if you don't have a cab of some sort, you need to definitely have a respirator on and do something.
Yeah, I wear the respirator.
Yeah.
I've talked to Jumpy pretty good. I need to upgrade my rig. I'm sure they'll take care of me over at MTS. Just got to kind of work out how that works. But yeah, I'm in an old International. I got a sweet sprayer. It's a 3-point on the back, can hold up to 200 gallons.
Oh, wow.
A little bit more than what my tractor can handle. But then it's got a 29-foot boom on it. It's a sweet rig, and it's really saved me a lot of time. Mm-hmm. In terms of total acres that I'm planting, with spraying, I'm doing at least 50 at a minimum each year. So, what do you have? You could use a side-by-side with a boom setup, a four-wheeler boom setup, or a tractor, and 30-foot boom that covers basically 3 passes of my corn planter. So
that's awesome.
It makes good work, less fill-ups. It's really a good rig, but yeah, I'm open air, so respirator, Usually I have a hoodie on. It's been a little bit hot, so I kind of skipped that today. But I always am a little bit embarrassed when somebody's driving by. Like, I probably look like an absolute goon out there. Oh, man. Yeah, especially like a real farmer.
Yeah. I always wonder what my neighbors think of me. I got one of those backpack blower sprayers.
Yeah.
I put chemicals in it to treat my yard for mosquitoes and stuff, and I get all suited up and go out there. They got to be looking at me like, what is this guy doing? Goggles and all.
I got a neighbor, Dalton. He moved down from Pike County. He's the coolest dude. He loves old tractors, and he works at the gravel pit, and he's
Okay.
been a supervisor up there for a long time. Can fix anything, man. He's a huge help to me, but he grew up farming, doing a lot of this stuff, and he just shakes his head like, you suck. I don't know how this works, but it does.
Yep. So with you spraying all that, how much do you leave for the deer?
Well, I what I've been doing is I've been cover cropping.
Okay.
So what I've found is it's a lot easier to go in, same time the farmers do, and start a grain,
Yep.
right? And then
Do you use a drone or?
no, well, by grain I mean like corner beans,
Oh, okay.
right? And then so a row crop, and what that does is that keeps the field clean. And in areas where the deer wipe it out, then I just go in and I'm basically planting into a clean field.
Mm-hmm.
You can spray, but you're not dealing with, biomass 4 feet above the ground.
Yep.
I bought a roller. It's not a crimper,
Okay.
but it's a roller. I felt like I'd get more use out of it. So sometimes if I'm going into a new area, I'll crimp whatever's there, and then I'll plant like beans or corn if it's early enough, and then I'll come back and spray over it. And then just depending what the deer do,
Mm-hmm.
you get that grass mat down. You got to use a pretty small seed to kind of wiggle its way through there.
Right.
But it's just, to me, it's easier to go in and start your plots something early. Corn, beans are great. If you're on a CRP, you're going to have to mix something with those beans. Technically, you might be able to do a pea or just put corn and beans in there together. The deer are probably going to eat it all.
Yep.
So then you come back and you've got a generally clean field, a lot easier surface to work with, and then you come in and plant something else. The other, strategy, a lot of people I think are scared of it. You just go in and you spray, and then you light a match to it.
Oh yeah.
Grant Woods does that all the time. He's got some confidence. He goes in and burns a lot, and
Have fire breaks and clover edges and stuff like that.
burning is so good for management,
Yeah.
for habitat management. I mean, it's got a lot of really important, things that go to it. But if you go in, spray your little area, burn it safely, and then you've got bare dirt that you can just broadcast your turnip or whatever before a rain, like Grant Wood says, and then boom,
Mm-hmm.
the magic happens. But you get feedback along the way. In 25 years of doing it, I try to keep the food plots from getting the noxious weeds growing up, because
Right.
the farmers that drive by don't like seeing thistle or things like that. They can carry over to their field. And so that's my strategy. I try to spray it, plant it, let them eat it, come back, and then cover crop it. And with the cover crop, wheat isn't that bad. I was getting it for $20 a bag from one of the seed shop in Pittsfield.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got a buddy that sells seed, Smith Seed, up in Headache. He's got great pricing, a great variety of food plot seeds and stuff like that. And then you plant. What I try to do, and most farmers are cool with it, is when they're taking their crops out, I try to follow them with a cover crop, right? And
Mm-hmm.
historically, to my understanding, you follow beans with tillage radish or turnip,
Yep.
and then you follow corn with rye. But I actually prefer the wheat, because my understanding is it terminates easier. And so I don't want to cause any interruptions for the farmer as they go back in. And I think most of the time they're going to spray anyways. But, sometimes, I told a buddy of mine about that that he lives in Michigan. He hunts with me down here, and he went in and did it. And the farmer ended up having other plans for the field, and so it was all for naught. And it was after he talked to the farmer. So you run into stuff like that. You just got to be willing to let it go.
I had a farmer last year that let us put some turnips and radishes down once the beans started changing, and unfortunately we didn't get enough rain last year for them to really do much. But still having the opportunity, and it was nice to be able to do that, and that they were cool with it.
Yeah, and I think the drone application is big time for that, because you're not, you're not touching anything. Timing wise, you get a little bit better. One of my farmers like, it's not gonna do anything. It's like, I know, but we put it in the budget, and if it does, great. Yeah, you
sometimes stuff doesn't have to get very big for the deer to like it either.
Oh man,
I mean, it doesn't take much.
I did get a cover crop down last year, and ended up being like 20 some acres, and it was a magnet. It's hard because you got to rest your farms, and you got guys in camp, and they're like,
but I saw 50 deer out.
Yeah, you're like, yeah. When the wind turns around, these are the target bucks. We'll try that. But until then, we got a south wind, and these are pretty good spots. These are great bucks that we're going after, and you just kind of manage that flow to make sure you're not over hunting or over pressuring. Your first sign of over pressuring something is when the deer stop showing up.
Man, I saw a video this morning. It's been going around. It's getting pretty popular. I think it was on YouTube. It was Whitetail Research, I think is what it was on there. Have you seen that with the thermal drone?
That dude that took the
he took a whole year off hunting, pretty much.
A young kid,
yes,
too.
Just to do research on it. And those bucks that he was sighting, those are studs too.
Yeah, they weren't
the amount of I can't wait to see the rest of those videos.
He hit the nail on the head.
Yeah,
I was
the
really
thermals
impressed.
and it just blew my mind how quickly those bucks got up when the thermals shifted, and like the peak of the temperature at the day, they'd get up and shift, and I mean,
that kid killed it.
Yeah,
I just because I subscribe to it on YouTube, it might have popped up on my Instagram or Facebook. It's a different name, but he's on Facebook, and these smartphones are smart enough now. If you like them somewhere, it'll give you.
We're talking about it now. It's probably gonna pop up.
Right? Yeah, no doubt. But that kid, that's exactly what I took from it too. I want to watch it again, or just listen to it again, because I don't want to miss anything. So what he's done is he's kind of highlighted these buck bedding areas. And so this, it'll show you on a map, just like most.
It's really relative to this terrain and area too. The spots he was in, what I thought too.
From.
Yeah, because it looked a lot like this area.
Yeah, but he'll show you kind of where the buck was bedded on kind of like a
big hillside knob.
Yeah, kind of drone footage almost, or maybe just overlaying a map, and then he's kind of showing where the buck went at the time of the thermal change relative to when he stood up. I thought it was a great example where he's like, this buck right here on this day just wasn't killable.
Yep.
And
the other thing that was really interesting to me was those days where you have the wind, you have front coming in, the wind changes midday or whatever.
Yeah.
And how that, I think he said like 100% of the time changed where the deer like had planned to go, and then he went somewhere else because of that wind change.
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy. But yeah, you're right, because he was like, you might have been able to kill him on this day if you did this, but other than that, he's been scent checking this, and there's like no good way to get after him.
The other thing is so how people say these big bucks always walk into the wind. He even, do you remember how he relates that to more so in the evening, but on the morning it's more like a straight line.
They went
and
further.
They cover a longer distance. So if you're going to catch them, basically what I took from that is if you're going to catch them walking not into the wind, it's more likely to be of a morning than an evening.
And you know what? That makes sense. Like, because I could think back of some of the deer my brother and I have killed, and knowing where they came from, that they were like a long way away from their core area.
Yeah.
And they're either ran out partying all night looking for does and then eventually slowly working their way back, and that makes sense. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that part was like super interesting, and he like emphasized it too.
Yeah, that guy killed it. Yeah, I'm curious where he's from. I'm sure we're going to hear more about him because, a lot of people that have seen that or found
Yeah, it's
good
been
value.
yeah. I got a text message from a couple of different buddies like, "Have you seen this yet?" And watched it, and it is very cool.
Yeah. So
And he was saying like how much more information you can gather from it versus the GPS collar, because you can actually see what the deer are doing too, which is really cool.
yeah,
I mean, some of them just face down, just out cold.
yeah. Which you ever get trail cam pics of bucks sleeping?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in the stand and filmed them and just have them like knocked out. It's just like a dog going to sleep sometimes.
It's
I mean, laying
crazy.
down there.
Now, can you tell? I don't know. One of these old school legends. I was watching one of his YouTube clips. Can you tell a buck bedding compared to a doe if you're just looking at a single bed?
No, I mean, it's kind of hard.
There was
It's
there was a guy.
you can look at tracks if they're there.
I think there was a guy, if I remember right, that was like, yeah, if you look right here towards the front of the bed, you can see where their main beam was on the ground.
Oh,
And you're like, what? I've never looked for that. Just
yeah, if it was like wet and just could
Yeah.
leave an imprint.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I haven't got that detailed, but
It's hard to remember.
yeah.
I'm usually looking at trees and where am
Yeah. I mean, well, that other thing is like sometimes after you kill a deer, you go into his bedroom to see what he was doing, and then you see all those rubs, and then you see some of those beds. You
Yeah.
assume, oh, well, that's where he's been staying at and everything. Like we do that, but
Right.
yeah, generally, because when they're walking, sometimes they just lay down. And like that one deer that he filmed, like it got up several times around that knob and just relocated every so often. But
Yeah.
that was cool.
Yeah. I mean, you watched a lot of the Mississippi State stuff too.
Is that Deer Association or Dr. Deer? And no, I have seen some of it where they show like the antlers.
They've been on Southern Outdoorsman a lot, but they seem to be the ones that created the research where a lot of these collared deer they're
Yep.
talking about.
Yep.
Like one recent stat, newer to me that I've seen is 50% of the bucks bedded at any given time was the highest number that the bucks were bedded at any given time. So when you go hunting and you think, all right, everything's bedded down right now, what their research is saying is technically 50% of the bucks are on their feet. And at no point are 100% of the bucks bedded down. Never are there 60%. 50% is the maximum that they're bedded down at any given time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You get up out of their bed, they eat, they just kind of mosey around, but it's not far. They don't go that far, right?
Right. So I don't know. I think it just have to be how detailed the GPS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, man. We're running out of time, but I want everybody to hear about your socials, where they can find you, contact information if they're looking for a pond, a blind.
Yep. So yeah, you guys can find me on Facebook at Bent Beam, like a main beam, not like a coffee bean, digital. And I have 360 hunting blinds in stock, and I'll be ordering some more soon. I do have a handful of ponds left, but they've been going pretty quick lately, and I'm waiting on another order. I'm actually hoping to have some display 360 blinds, and they will be up on the south side of Jerseyville, around HC Remodeling off the highway there. People could stop in there and check them out, or we have some already put together. If you want to reach out to me and come take a look at them, we have some set up that you can do that. And yeah, my number is 217-622-1519. if you want to get a hold of me. And I think that covers it all.
Chris Walker.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Good seeing you, man.
Yeah, good seeing you.